Truth Curie Stories. When my wife refused to save her dying father, I gave him my kidney, then discovered her shocking secret. My wife looked her dying father straight in the eye and lied about being pregnant to avoid giving him a kidney. What she didn't know was that I had already scheduled my own compatibility test, and that her betrayal would cost her everything she thought she'd inherit. I'm Mike, 35, from Tempe, Arizona. 5 years ago, I thought I'd won the lottery when I married Jessica. Beautiful, educated, from a well-off family with commercial properties all over Phoenix. Her mom, Karen, made it crystal clear from day one that I wasn't good enough, just a plant supervisor at a semiconductor facility who grew up in a single-wide trailer in Casa Grande. But her dad, Frank, that man treated me like the son he never had. Frank owned 3 strip malls in Scottsdale and a medical complex near Banner Hospital. While Karen would forget to set a place for me at Thanksgiving, Frank would take me to spring training games and teach me about commercial real estate over beers at Four Peaks Brewery. When our son Tyler was born, Frank was the one in the delivery room with me, while Karen complained about missing her Pilates class. Everything changed the night of the facility explosion. March 15th, 2022. I'll never forget it. A chemical reaction in the clean room went critical. I pulled 3 guys out before the second blast hit. Got third-degree burns covering 40% of my arms and chest. Lost my buddy Rodriguez that night. The survivor's guilt ate me alive. I'd wake up at 3 a.m., drenched in sweat, seeing Rodriguez's face in the flames. Jessica's response? Mike, he's dead. You're not. Get over it and go back to work. We have bills to pay. She made me sleep in the guest room because my burn cream smelled gross and the scarring wasn't exactly attractive. When I ran into Karen at Whole Foods 6 weeks later, she literally pretended not to know me. Told the cashier I was some burn guy who kept staring at her. But Frank? He drove me to every therapy appointment, sat with me through the nightmares, found me the best burn specialist at Mayo Clinic, Scottsdale, paid the $15,000 my insurance wouldn't cover. You're a hero, son. Heroes carry scars. Then came October 2023. Frank collapsed at his office. Kidney failure from undiagnosed diabetes. Needed a transplant or he'd be dead within 6 months. The whole family got tested. Jessica was a perfect match. We were all celebrating in the hospital cafeteria when she dropped her bomb. Actually, I'm pregnant. 8 weeks. Can't do the surgery. Everyone congratulated her. Frank even cried with joy about another grandchild. But something felt off. I'd had a vasectomy reversal 3 months earlier, and we'd been trying, but she'd just had her period 2 weeks ago. I saw her taking birth control pills that morning. That night, I confronted her in our bedroom. She didn't even try to deny it. Are you insane? I'm not giving up a kidney. What if Tyler needs one someday? What if I need my spare? Daddy'll find another donor. Someone always dies in a car accident or whatever. He's your father, Jessica. And I'm his daughter. He wouldn't want me to risk my health. Besides, pregnancy is a perfect excuse. No one can argue with protecting a baby. I looked at this woman I'd married, the mother of my child, and saw a stranger, a monster. Frank had 6 weeks, maybe 8 at most. While Jessica played grieving daughter at the hospital, I secretly got tested. Perfect match. I didn't tell anyone, not even Frank. Scheduled the surgery for November 15th. Told Jessica I was attending a work conference in San Diego. Instead, I checked into Banner Hospital at 5 a.m. The surgery took 4 hours. When Frank woke up with my kidney inside him, the look on his face was worth every second of pain. Jessica burst into the recovery room 8 hours later, Karen trailing behind her. What the hell did you do? I saved your father's life. You know, that thing you pretended you couldn't do because of your fake pregnancy? The color drained from her face. Frank, still groggy from anesthesia, asked what I meant about fake pregnancy. So I told him, Everything. The birth control pills, the confession, how she'd chosen her theoretical future convenience over his actual life. Karen tried damage control. He's lying, Frank. He's obviously delusional from the medication. I had my lawyer investigate, Frank interrupted, his voice weak but firm. After Mike went into surgery, I knew something wasn't right. Jessica never scheduled any prenatal appointments, never had morning sickness, and the fertility clinic confirmed she'd picked up her birth control prescription 5 days ago. Jessica started sobbing, those manipulative tears she was so good at. Daddy, please, I was scared. You were scared. I was dying. Mike gave me an organ. You gave me lies. 2 weeks later, Jessica served me with divorce papers, tried to claim I'd emotionally manipulated her father and deserved nothing but the state minimum. What she didn't know was that Frank had already called his estate attorney. The week before Christmas, Frank invited the whole family to his lawyer's office. Jessica showed up in her new Mercedes, Karen wearing $10,000 worth of jewelry. They thought they were there to discuss Frank's will. I'm transferring ownership of the Scottsdale Medical Complex to Mike, effective immediately. Current value, $3.2 million. Annual rental income, $380,000. Jessica exploded. You can't do this! I'm your daughter! You were willing to let me die rather than inconvenience yourself. Mike sacrificed an organ to save me. Who's really family here? Karen threatened to sue. The lawyer calmly explained that Frank was of sound mind and could dispose of his assets however he chose. Jessica tried one last manipulation, suddenly remembered she was actually pregnant now, for real this time. Frank just shook his head. Even if that's true, which I doubt, you've shown me who you really are. Mike gets the building, you get what you gave me. Nothing. The divorce was finalized in March 2024. I got full custody of Tyler. Jessica didn't even fight for him once she realized there was no money attached. She moved back in with Karen, who had to sell her jewelry to cover their lawyer's fees. Last week, Frank and I took Tyler fishing at Lake Pleasant. 4 generations of men. Frank brought his grandson from his son who lives in California. As we watched the sun set over the water, Frank said something I'll never forget. Blood makes you related, Mike. Loyalty makes you family. Jessica texts me occasionally, usually after a few wines, saying she made a mistake. Karen called once, crying about how they might lose their house because Jessica can't hold a job. The audacity to ask for help from the man they treated like trailer trash. I don't respond. Some bridges once burned leave scars that remind you never to rebuild them. But here's the part that really burns them. I'm using the rental income from Frank's building to pay for Tyler's college fund and to build a burn victim recovery center. We're calling it the Rodriguez Center, after my buddy who didn't make it out. Frank's on the board of directors. We're breaking ground next month. Jessica and Karen, they get to drive past it every day on their way to Karen's new job at Target. Because in America, karma doesn't whisper. It shows up with legal documents and a U-Haul truck. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and subscribe.